Welcome. So, in this ongoing series of world history, we have already covered the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, capitalism, socialism, communism, and colonialism. This is a video on imperialism. Look, if you are a country, a strong country, and then you decide to make state policy. In this state policy, you practice and advocate extending your power and dominion on other countries of the world. How? By direct territorial acquisition or by gaining political and economic control of that country. If you do this, you would be called an imperialist country. Now, to practice imperialism, you would need power. It could be military might or economic might. Now, imperialism is the domination by one country of the political, economic or cultural life of another country or region. European nations had already gained some power in areas of the world such as the America, Africa and Asia in this manner. By the 1800s, these areas became of great economic interest to Europeans who sought natural resources to use in their factories. New military strength enabled European nations to easily colonize or politically control other areas of the world. Remember, imperialism is a policy, a broader term, and colonialism is a mean to execute that policy. You may say a subset of imperialism. So, what were the causes of imperialism? First, economic interest. We read about the Industrial Revolution. Now, these industrial countries, manufacturers of the Industrial Revolution, wanted access to cheap raw materials and natural resources such as rubber, petroleum, magnesium, cotton, indigo, etc. They also hoped to modernize other areas and create markets or places to sell their manufactured goods. So these were economic interest. Second is political and military interest. Now, to safeguard their businesses, industrial powers started sending naval vessels along with the merchant ships. Harbor and islands were seized for these purposes. Look, all these present metropolitans like Mumbai, Kolkata or Chennai, they were all initially a trading port for these colonial powers. The third reason is nationalism. Many nations felt that ruling a global empire increased a nation's prestige around the world. So they started doing that. Fourth is the humanitarian goals. See, many Westerners believed the others as little brother. Paternalism is the idea of looking down at others as if they are less able or like children. Ethnocentrism, or the idea that one's ethnic group or culture is superior to others, was a prevalent idea during this period. While some people had good intentions, others were prejudiced towards foreigners. Missionaries, doctors and colonial officials believed that they had a duty to spread what they saw as the blessings of Western civilization, including its medicines, law and religion. This duty was referred to as the white man's burden. The fifth reason for rising in imperialism is social Darwinism, the idea that came from Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. It supported the argument that European races were superior to all others and that the conquest and destruction of other cultures was simply nature's way of improving the world. This attitude supported racism, and unfortunately, this was widely accepted in that period. Now, why did the imperialism succeed? First, many foreign nations did not have strong enough military power to resist invasion. In some areas, people were divided and thus were very easy to conquer. Like here in India, we were busy fighting with each other. The second reason is the superior technology and medicine. It strengthened the European powers. Machine guns and steam-driven warships forced foreigners to accept European domination. Some groups tried to resist, but most were not successful. So, what were the forms of imperial rule? Colonies were areas politically controlled by a more powerful nation. Some were controlled by direct rule or sending officials from Europe to directly control the colony, like in India. Others were ruled by indirect rule or the use of local rulers or chiefs who governed under the direction of the European power. This way, Western governments were introduced by the local people. Protectorate states were formed. It means rulers would be local, but the design would be that of the masters, that is Europeans. One other important term is the sphere of influence. It is an area where an outside power claimed exclusive investment or trading privileges. Europeans carved out spheres of influence overseas to prevent conflict with other imperialist nations. In Asia, China was divided into many spheres of influences. So, in this way, towards the Second World War, an entire world got into the grip of imperialistic forces. But these forces started fighting with each other and they had a fall. The countries in Asia and Africa started gaining independence. Colonial and imperialistic culture started declining. But you know, imperialism itself is a very broad term. Imperialism is the domination by one country of the political, economic or cultural life of another country or region. Today, in one form or other, in subtle or indirect ways, the elements of imperialism can still be noticed in the modern world. We will discuss it in some other video. Thank you.